this is a short introduction, so it might not be as long as 1 hour and a half, maybe finish within 1 hour, but I will try my best to um, share as much as possible what I know about this course and how about the exam. Uh, Basically, this is totally about a class, a AP class, which your students will face or you will see in the high school in American. So this exam is offered. This class actually preparing you everyone towards an exam. This exam is offered by an organization called the College Board. If you are already in high school, or if you're going into the high school, I believe you should have already been familiar with this organization. So this one is famous for helping high school students preparing towards their university or college education. So this one about the AP Computer Science A, eventually everything we do here is all preparing for this exam, which is hosted by College Board. You will apply for it, or your school teacher will apply for it, but you'll enter. You'll go for a test center for it each year in early May. And when you pass that exam, if you get a high enough score, that will make you recognized by most colleges as the first year computer science term course. So you can have that class and go to the college students admission office and say, see, I got the score of this exam. I have already learned it in my high school. So you can let me skip the first year of computer science study. So that's one of the biggest benefits here. Another benefit is this class is a 5 credit course. So if you want to have all 5 credit course, like a collection in high school, this one almost is a mandatory one. So you can't avoid it. You have to take this and pass it with pretty high score. But don't worry, I'll show the score system just in a second. You guys will be familiar with that very quickly. There's a very popular question about this class, about another AP class, the comparison or the differences between this one and the AP Computer Science Principles. So basically, this class, AP Computer Science A, is all about programming. It is focusing on the Java language and focusing on how to solve a problem with that language. Or when you read a small snippet of the program, you can understand what it's doing. However, this class, AP Computer Science Principles, is something totally different. It doesn't teach programming language at all. What it does is it tells you how to use computer, how a computer was composed. Like you will have a CPU, you will understand what is a hard drive, what is a memory, and how the input output devices is, how the network works, and then it teach you generic computer usage knowledge, like how you compose a word, how you're going to use email. It will spend like almost 1/3 of its time to teach you how to use Excel, which is a spreadsheet application from Microsoft Office. I believe most of you guys should already been pretty familiar with that. So that class is teaching those kind of things, like generic daily usage of a computer. And it also talking about something called cybersecurity, which is fun topic. It's a little bit related to the programming, but still far from coding by yourself. It will introduce some concept about the hackers, how they will steal your information by faking a website or something like that. But still, it's a common sense knowledge, not the coding knowledge. So that's the basic differences between AP Computer Science Principles and AP Computer Science A. Science A here, we here are focus our attention to a programming language and learn how to use that. Okay, hold on for a second. Let me see. There's someone. Oh, nice. Spelled wrong. Principles. Okay. Sorry for that. Good catch. I like that. So when are you talking about the exam at the May, right? You're preparing your entire year study towards that. And you just heard that you have to get a high score to send to the college to make them acknowledge you and to waive the first year of a computer science study. So you might be scared, like, what kind of high score I need? So basically, this exam eventually will just give you 5 scores, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What you need here is this two. See it clearly? So 5 means extremely well qualified, and 4 means well qualified. You just need to forget everything else. You don't need them. But also, don't be scared by this extremely well qualified thing. It's actually not that intimidating. It's not that scary. What is meant here is you just need to pass like 80% of questions. That'll be very fine. I'll explain it a little bit here like this. So the exam will be separated into 2 sections. I'm hoping I'm talking clearly. If I'm talking too fast or too slow, please give me some feedback so I can adapt. Okay, so the exam is separated into 2 sections. First section is 40 multiple choice questions. It's just like a normal exam. You already have it. You already know, familiar with this kind of thing. And then another section will come in as for free response questions. Okay, so in this 40 multiple choice question, you can see that since it's just like a let you choose A, B, C, D, one of them or more than one of them. It's multiple choice. So you can see that in the first section, you don't really have to code anything, right? So don't worry about that. Basically, what they're testing you here is how you read the code. You don't have to specifically lay out each coding letters, but when you saw a part of a code or one statement, you get an idea what it's talking about. So that is much easier than coding by yourself. So that's actually a very easy part. It only comes to the second section for free response questions. It's still not all of them about coding. Maybe 2 of them, or sometimes 3, or sometimes 1, asking you to code a very small part of the Java program, like it's just one function to sort something, to search something. Very easy challenges there. So you see, only very small portion require you to just use your hand to write a code. Most part needs you to understand, to read, to understand the code. So don't worry about that. Here, the 40 questions, each one will initially give you 2 scores. So 80 scores here. And here, 19 scores for each. So it's close to 80 scores here too. And eventually there will be a formula to calculate the final score, like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you can feel it. It's not that like the 5 doesn't really mean you have to answer every question perfectly and then you get a 5. No, it's not like that. It's much easier than you think. Actually, for example, if you get 30 questions right, 10 questions wrong, you're already close to that, you're past the 4, close to 5. And remember, a wrong answer does not give you negative scores. That's very important. So wrong answer doesn't give you negative scores. So just try to take an answer by whatever means, even if you really don't understand what the question is asking. But here in this class, my job is make you understand, make sure you understand everything there. And trust me, I can do that with my over 20 years working experience in the programming language. I believe this part is actually pretty easy. Welcome the new joiners. Since my default setting is like let everyone talk, so probably you will see your microphone is turned on. So you're welcome to use that, of course, anytime to shoot any questions. But if you feel your microphone is leaking your family private information or talkings, I suggest you just mute it. It will be on the lower corner, left corner, or sometimes it comes to the top screen bar, leftmost button. Okay, so this exam, let's come back to the exam introductory. So this exam totally will last for 3 hours. So that's also a very important information. I want you guys remember this by your heart. 3 hours, and there's only 15 minutes break in it, or maybe there's no. If you are used up all your time, then you don't have any break time. Then 3 hours is not a short one, especially for students studying used to American system. I know if you ever saw Chinese students when they study in their high school, you will understand that 3 hours mean nothing. But here, be prepared for it. Make sure you have enough energy before the exam. And then make sure you have all the courses learned and every homework done. And that will be totally fine for that. And this course, of course, towards the exam, also it will help you to make the entire course, I want to say a happy course journey for everyone. I want to say the programming language is not even close to something like a hard to learn. It's actually very fun. I will show you during the following units if you ever join. A good news here from the College Board is they are not testing the entire Java. They're not testing every feature of this Java language. I worked on this language for more than 15 years, so I know that even today, there are still more features coming out. Every year, they have some version advance in Java. Right now, it's already in Java 9. They even changed the version number from 1.9 to just directly say it's Java 9. It keep adding new features. I mean, the host company initially is Sun Microsystems. Now it's been bought by Oracle. So the owner is Oracle company. The Oracle keep developing this language. Every year there's a new feature coming out. Even I, working so many years on that, I still cannot say I know every pieces of this thing inside out. However, the good news here is College Board only require you to understand a subset of Java. Actually here, when I read their curriculum introduction, I can see that a subset of Java here means just a very basic entry-level foundation knowledge of this one. That is, most of those knowledge there can be memorized by just using your common sense. So there's really no extra burden there to remember some weird things. Just use your common sense, use your mathematical foundation. That's totally fine here, especially for Asian students, I hope. Skill to learn here, those 5 things defined by College Board is the 5 main skills they want students to develop and master. And don't worry about these 5 terms. Basically, you will naturally get them during the course. Most important thing I already mentioned here is code reading. So that reading thing is the one thing you can get your most score, hopefully. But of course, the things here, implementation, problem solving by design are also important. I will carry them out in the class for you guys. So far, so good. Am I too fast or too slow? I'm hoping everyone can focusing on what I'm talking about here. Allow me to manually mute. Thanks. Cool. So in this class, initially when I start to design this class, I just strictly follow the textbook chapters. So I saw there's a 16 chapters. So I say, okay, this class will have 16 units. These are each units we're going to cover, the topics we're going to cover. However, during the practically the first few classes I'm teaching, I feeling like every unit just spend 1.5 hours for every unit, sort of like not enough. I'm just feeling like I can talk like 2 hours for each unit, but eventually, due to the time limit, I think I can pack all the knowledge here in 1.5 hours for each topics. But that may need 2 things. First, I will have to talking a little bit faster. I mean, faster than my current speed. And second, I will really need you guys for whatever level. After each class, you really need to spend some time playing with this programming thing. Open your application development tools, which we call it IDE. I will talking about that very quickly. Launch it and play in it, and just write anything you think may be working, and see if it's actually working or not. Don't worry at all if you encounter some errors or something stop you from doing anything there. Actually, that's the best opportunity. Personally, I believe, because whenever you do it by yourself and found some error things in that moment, and that's the greatest opportunity. You're going to learn something. Whenever you overcome that error, you fix something, fix the code pieces, and that moment is the best time to remember this knowledge. Yeah, I totally believe that because I learned most of things in that way, trial and error. That's almost the best way to learn the program language. So do it by yourself at your home. Spend some time in it. Not just listen to my non-stop continuous talking in 1.5 hours. That is not enough. Far from enough. Next unit, every time when I start a new unit, I'll try to review a little bit. At that time, you understand what I'm talking about. If you play a little bit, you will have no problem to understand everything we reviewed. But if you didn't play it by yourself, looks like a review is a new class for you. Anyway, we're going to talking about some Java basics, primitive types, binary thing, string, Boolean types, and then we are going to introduce some conditional statement about the if keyword, because computer need to think. If you want a computer to think like artificial intelligence, like AI, no matter how complicated the AI is, the foundation is if, it's conditional statement. It will behave differently based upon different condition, right? That's the core logic of any artificial intelligence, no matter what things you're going to do. That's a start point. And then another powerful thing from computer language is looping. You can tell it to do one same thing for 1,000 times. Each time you can give it a little bit different behavior. That is one part it can surpass human brains. And then we're going to talking about some simple objects, array, matrix, class. And we go directly to the advanced second half, all the way to the different algorithms, iteration and recursion, sorting, and search. That's basically how the class is designed. And actually, it's not too much content here. If we're allowed, we can have an intensive class, like 5 hours long, like maybe 3 or 4 sessions, we can cover all of them. But with 16 units, hopefully I can make you guys, if you're really interested in it, make you guys have a solid foundation of all this knowledge, so you will feel easier when you're facing the exam. So far, so good. Okay, so that's actually talking about exam, but I want to share you something about the textbook or documents. So actually, I want to share you something here. This file, everyone can see my screen changes, right? I'm sharing documents now. Okay, I see someone's adding some comments scratch. Okay, cool. That at least that's a good feedback. I like that. In the class, you really need to be active. Yeah. Okay, someone asking what is the difference between this course and a high school class. So I need to talking about something like this. Of course, the first thing is this class is not a replacement for the class offered in high school. Unfortunately, I'm not a licensed high school. Okay, I'm a teacher, your tutor, your personal tutor, to help you get past that high school class. Eventually, only that high school can give you the AP credit. Remember that clearly, okay? Only the high school, charted high school can give you that AP credit. And only the high school board can sign you up, or maybe you can ask your teacher to help you to sign up to the final exam in each year in the May. So remember that. Eventually, you will enter in high school. You'll choose that class. That class is optional, right? You will have a range of your courses each year before each terms, and you can choose this. Ask your teacher, counselors, say you want to take this class, and they will assign you up. And remember, you have to contact your counselor early, because this class is pretty hot. If you think like at the last moment, I can ask the counselor to have this one, probably the counselor will say the class is already full. So remember, contact your counselor early, sign you up in this class, and you're going to take this class in high school. What I'm doing here is preparing you, have a good knowledge about this class. You either have a really easier time in the class, or this one will help you to boost your performance. You don't feel that challenge in the class. Another story here, specifically in the Houston area, there's before the year of 2019, this class, AP Computer Science A, can be selected by any grade in high school. So you can the first grade you enter in high school, you can try to sign it up. However, last year, 2019, quite a lot of students, they pick up this class during their first year in high school. They didn't score really well. And the failure, which failure, I mean, if you got a score of 3, probably not most college can recognize you. So I call that a failure. So the failure rate is so high. Eventually, the KDI, Houston ISD, KDISD here, the school board, they have their new regulations, new rules. That the rules say only at the second year, only those second grade in high school students, they can choose this class. So remember that. I'm not sure if that's a cross country thing, but I told you this story just to make you understand that if you're just relying on the school teacher, if you just you see that in this school area, there's pretty some smart students here, very good school, a lot of Asian students there, but they still have a pretty high failure rate. So that means if you put your confidence, put your hope 100% on the school teachers, there may be some difficulties or challenges. You're welcome to pass this class. I'm not saying the teacher didn't teach this well. That's totally politically incorrect. But I'm just saying with extra help, it doesn't harm, right? And you will definitely get better and will perform better in that class eventually. And maybe you know that during high school, you will be pretty busy. There's much more, there's a lot of more other things there. If you can save times in this class, your life will be much easier when you have so many other things to do, right? What I'm talking about, the other AP class, or something you want to emphasize, not only in the academic side, for example, sports, music, or anything else. So saving time here will help in whatever. So coming back to this, I hope this answer your question well. And everyone, you're really welcome to shoot any questions. And coming back to this document, students don't have to read this document. This document is coming from College Board, dedicated for the teachers, actually dedicated to the school or whoever want to write a textbook for this course. So this is the official ultimate requirement or guideline for any teacher or any publisher they want to write the book. Every aspect of this exam, this course cover, or how deep they should go, what kind of knowledge they should teach, what kind of topic they should cover, they should discuss, all included in this 200 pages document. You guys don't need to read this. I have to. This is the latest version coming from last year, fall 2019. Basically, it's too long, but I'll show some key information here. For example, how this is developed, digital instruction. Yeah. Things we already covered here is something like a college course equivalent. See, this is an official statement. AP Computer Science A is equivalent to a first semester college level course in computer science. So if you're going to take that in college, you're saving an entire semester. That means you don't have to waste time on that. You can directly start up the second level, or you can use that time to do something else. Remember that in college, every term you're saved is not only saving time, but also saving money. And also give you a boost. You may be early than your classmates to reach the graduation. And it also give a boost to make you early to entering the society, to start your real life of individuals, independent person. Okay, hopefully I get this correctly. And then some prerequisites. Prerequisites say not every student is really they think really fit for this class. Basically, it needs that you at least you completed a first year high school algebra. So actually, you see, it's already, if you strictly follow this guideline, it's already forbidden prevent anyone taking this from the first year in high school, because you have to take an algebra first, and then you take this one, right? But based on my experience, it's not that hard. If you already have a pretty good mathematical thinking and understand in your junior school, middle school, that's already good enough. First year high school algebra course with a strong foundation of basic linear foundations, composition functions, and problem solving strategies. Okay, this, blah blah blah. But this one just make sure you guys understanding what an equation means, and basically most importantly, you need to understand that x, y in the equation means variables, which means the value of x, y can change. And when you see that equation, your thinking is not thinking a specific number. You are thinking any kind of numbers. What happens if you put that into that equation? If you have that thinking, that's totally fine. You already got the idea here. In addition, students should be able to understand or use Cartesian coordinate systems, basically how you think about the graph in a coordination system in a plane. I don't really think that's really needed in coding, but that will be a great help. And it asks the students and their advisors understand this course built upon the foundation of mathematical reasoning. So basically, this prerequisite looks pretty hard, but actually, I don't think it's that the standards are that high. And then computer languages. It will use Java here. See. So unfortunately, if you learn something else, like if you really learned C or BASIC or any other languages, it doesn't apply here. But that kind of thing really helps you to understand the same concept here, of course. And I was talking about why they choose Java language a little bit later. And the last but not least, when you're in the college, when you're in high school, that you really take the class, it also asks you for some lab requirements. This lab requirement is nothing but just you have to play in the computer for some time after class. This might be depend on different schools. Some school will require you to bring or use the school lab computer just to play there for 1 hour each week, or they assign you like a homework. You have to do this at home for something. So that's based on school requirement. So eventually, there's some information about the official guideline. And then going on, you will see it will say the course framework. And I will understand that, and I will pass my knowledge to you. Okay, so now coming back to student book. So students, at least in Houston area, most schools using Barron's book, like I show in the screen sharing right now, as the textbook in the class. So I already paste a downloadable link for an old version, which means 7th edition, in the chat. If you don't have it, you can ask your parents. Probably they if they scroll back searching the chat history in the WeChat sessions, probably they will find a link. The 7th edition was used 2 years ago, and now it became a free version on the internet, so you can download it. And I also, but the latest, if you really want the latest one, the latest one is the 9th edition. Sorry about the reversed mirrored video, but I think you guys got the idea. So this one can be bought on Amazon.com, or maybe even if you are abroad or in China or something, I believe um, they have some specific website that you can order this book without problem. So ninth edition is the latest edition. Um, if you're going to the high school, the teacher will ask you specifically to purchase the latest version. But I personally compared the two editions during the past 2 years. They changed a little bit the chapter layouts. So right now the chapter 1 in 7th edition became chapter 2 in the 9th edition. However, the homework part, I compared the first two chapters. They look like exactly the same, Even the order they didn't shuffle around the order. Usually when they publish new editions, they will put some trick, like they will shuffle the homework questions, or they may redesign the homework questions. The reason to do that, I believe everyone, if you have common sense, you can figure out by yourself, right? If they don't do any changes on this book, what's the point to publish new one? And every student, they do not have to purchase new one. They just ask their senior schoolmates, and you borrow one or you buy a second-hand one, right? But the publishers, they need make profits. They need to publish a new one and they require you to buy that new one. So they need to do something here. So it surprised me that the new edition didn't shuffle the homework. But however, they redesign, they insert a new chapter at the beginning. So the first chapter now became something like this course. They add a introduction chapter there. And that's the book. What I want to show you next is, actually I already introduced most of things about this course and the exam. Right now, let me share something about yeah. Let me share something about the exam. So I want to give you some feeling about the exam. You do not have to understand anything here because you didn't start the course yet, right? I just want you to have got a feeling what you're facing. May I coming back a little bit? Let me start to the shares like this. Come back to this one. About the exam, I think something I should put in here. Feedback about the exam, continuous total exam course, contents, roadmap, I already talked about that. Learning environment, okay. This is a new page here, right? So even we learn this class intensively in front of the computer, please remember one important thing. Eventually, when you take this exam is electronic free. What this means is when you register the exam at that time, your parents drive you to the test center or maybe directly at your school. Before you enter in the classroom, the test room, you have to put your laptop, smartphone, calculator, anything else, or maybe your fancy iWatch or Android watch. You have to put them aside. Maybe they will give you some plastic bags. You put them in the bags, write your name on it, and put it in front of the test room. And then you only took some paper and a pencil to go into the test room. Remember that? That's electronic free, which means you don't have the ability to Google anything or to chat with anyone during the exam. The only thing you have to rely on is your brain, your memory, your knowledge, and your problem-solving skill, and one or maybe two pencils and some paper. That's electronic free. That's talking about exam. 3 hours, remember that. Hopefully, a lot of the students already complained the 3 hours too long. They said the division of the first part and the second part is not so reasonable because most students need more time on the 40 questions. Remember that? Traditionally, the first part only 1 hour and 15 minutes, but the College Board this year they already post some news. They said they are considering change the timeshare a little bit, enlarge or extend the first session a little bit, and shorten the second session a little bit because a lot of students complain. They said they do not have enough time for the multiple choice questions, but they do this free response questions quickly, and like in half an hour or maybe 40 minutes they finish it. 1 hour and 45 minutes for just 4 questions? To me, it's like too exaggerated long. Okay. Remember that exam is electronic free. And then even the exam is electronic free. Our course is electronic intensive. Okay, so everyone at least needs your computer. Every week you should ask your time from your parent. If your parents doesn't allow you to use computer freely, that's fine. Of course, they should apply some restriction there. But from now on, you should ask your parents, grant you at least 2 hours or 3 hours each week. Do not have to be the same chunk, like you can spread it out during the week. But you have to ask them, say, this is the time I need to practice for this class. So you will have to ask them the computer time. That's important. Oh, there's some chat messages. Okay, so someone say they see some weird things happening in a slide, right? That's because you actually during the class you can using the annotate button, and you can use mark or highlighted tools to ask questions. For example, if we're talking about some code, you can use this highlight tool. Directly click on the screen, say, hey teacher, this here, I don't understand here. Or how about we remove this line or change something here, what will happen? Some question like that. Or you can draw an arrow, something like that. So this class is pretty interactive class. And it won't, I don't believe I can handle a 20 student class. That would be too much. And I don't think a 20 student class won't have enough interactive. Even in the small classes, sometimes you guys are really shy. I ask question to you, and you don't really give any feedback. You really need to be active and don't be shy. But of course, we still need to focusing on the class content, right? And spend time in the content, not on the distraction thing. I appreciate that. So don't worry about this kind of thing. That's just like annotation tools. You can draw a line or a shape or highlight anything like that. So that's an annotation. It's a one function of the. Okay, yeah, that's welcome. No, that's one function provided by Zoom. Okay, so let's come to our computer environment. So on your computer, if you never did this, probably you're going to do this. You're going to download a new application called IntelliJ IDEA. Let me paste this in the chat window. Send to everyone. So what is things about? This is a tool you can use to easily develop or coding Java. Yeah, someone immediately feedback say, if there's I already familiar with something else, can I use that? Sure, that's no problem. You can use Eclipse. Eclipse is another good, very good tool to develop Java. The reason why I use IntelliJ IDEA is when I saw students, they really take these courses in high school, and they come to me to ask questions. They told me that almost in all the school, the teacher using this IntelliJ IDEA. So they specifically asking, sometimes they don't ask for programming, they just asking how to use that IDE. Where do I open a project, or how to save a file, something like that. So initially I'm using Eclipse too, but later I just switched to the IntelliJ IDEA. It doesn't matter, right? It's just a tool. But with IntelliJ IDEA, you maybe get even more familiar in the environment you're going to face in a school. You won't have any question then. Sure, you can use Eclipse. Just make sure when we're doing something other than coding, for example, I ask you to create a new project, create a new class. You have to know how to do that in Eclipse, because what I'm showing here in a class, I'm going to show it, demonstrate it in this tool, IntelliJ IDEA. So just try to figure out a similar thing in Eclipse. Other than that, everything is the same, almost the same. When we're talking about coding, things are the same. Some very, if you really lack of this tools, in theory, let me tell you, in theory, or maybe even in practice, you can develop Java program just by Notepad. You know, a Java program is nothing but a text file. You just write code in the Notepad, make sure every character is right, it's fine. In theory, it's totally fine. And then you use a Java compiler to compile it and run it. It will run without problem. However, an IDE, a good tool like this, hey, someone please erase your, yeah, thank you. Hold your hand for a little bit. Okay, I know it's already 15 minutes past. I know you guys, young people will have you have very hard limit on the 1 hour threshold. I noticed this because when I have 1.5 hour classes, after the 1 hour, I really need to hold your attentions. Okay, a good IDE, which we call it integrated development environment, which is a complicated tool. It does not only allow you to write code in it, it also helps you to detect errors very early, very easily, and you can just use 1 or 2 clicks to fix them. If you're missing something, it gives you good hints, and it may fix it automatically for you. Sometimes just think about it like when you're writing in a Word, it automatically format it for you. It automatically detect the spelling error for you, right? That's very good too. How to download this? Use Google this keyword. I already pasted in our chatting. IntelliJ IDEA. Google it, and then use your common sense. But in most cases, the first result should be it. But still, if there's an exception, use your common sense. Probably you will see something like that, JetBrains.com IDEA. And you click that, you will see download. And remember, eventually you will see some download link. Forget about the ultimate version, which will charge you some money. Go to the common open source free version. That is orally enough for this class. Everyone got me? When you Google it, do it right now. Do it right now. Google this keyword, find the first link, check if it's JetBrains, coming from JetBrains.com. Click in it and try to looking for somewhere a big download button. After you click download, okay, well, I'll show you this first. If you Google it, it probably will go as the first link of your search results. See this? Do this on your computer. Do this on your computer, okay? And after you click it, looking for some big download button. Basically, ignore anything else, right? And after you click download it, it will show you 2 options. One side is called Ultimate. Another side called Community. Hey, someone give me back this Ultimate. Thank you. Forget about this. Yeah, I know what you are doing is helping me. let everyone understand. Forget about this. This one charging you because you can only have a free trial. When you see free trial, it means not free. Okay, remember this. Free trial is equal to not free. Okay, this free open source, this one's really free, and this is really good enough. Because you see the extra functions, we don't use them at all. This part already good enough. Okay, download this. Remember, if you are using Mac, using Apple laptop, remember click here, download this one link. If you are using Linux, which I highly doubt, if you're already using Linux, probably you don't need to take this class, right? So go to Windows or Mac and download this one, and then try to install it on your laptop. If you have questions because during the install, they will ask you, the installation app will ask you quite some questions, which because I already installed it, so I cannot re-show them to you. But anyway, let me close everything here. Okay, I can close all. So basically, hey, come on. Yeah, I know the patience running out, but let's hold on to the class, okay? And after you install this tool, eventually you will show some interface like this. Okay. One thing I want to show you is during the installation, you will, maybe the first question or maybe the second question, it will ask you choose a color scheme. Did everyone still follow me? Color scheme. Basically, actually a theme, sorry, a theme. Okay. So by default, it will use IntelliJ Light, which is totally non-related to our class job. You can do anything here with either choice, but I highly recommend you at that time choosing a dark theme, which we call the killer. You can see the difference. Let me show you a source. Okay. So if you choose that IntelliJ Light, you will see something like this. As a 20 years developer, let me tell you, this is really hurts your eyes. At least it hurt my eyes. If I'm going to work a long time on the computer, I will definitely choose this one. So this one makes everything looks much easier for me. So that's one of my recommendations. Okay, so let's come back to the test. Yeah, this is something I want to show you, make you feel. So basically, this is things they're going to test. This first one is pretty late. It's talking about class. Someone here is talking about a short snippet of code and let you do the following questions. See, it's just asking you replace 1 or 2 lines. Maybe next open class, if we are going to accommodate like over 20 or 30, 50 people here, we'll try to disable the comments tools. But in the class, you're overly welcome to use any tools to interact with me. Not for now. Not for now. Thank you. Okay, so this will give you some feeling. See, here it say something and say, what if you put this there, that there? What will happen? Yeah. You mean what kind of slides? If you mean someone asking about, can we have this slide here? So basically, this book, this is just a PDF book. See, this is a PDF, right? This is a PDF book. The link already pasted in the WeChat session. So you will have that, or you may have already purchased the list book, which I'm going to use in the class also, which you may already have it. And talking about the slides, and coming back to the slides. Yeah, here. So these slides, I'd rather not to show you, give you, because it keep going to the unit 1, unit 2, unit 2, unit 3. It's going to the further one. I'd rather to give you this in the class. So probably you'll have that during the later. And let me. Okay. So now sorry guys, I disabled your annotation functionality. I have to, sorry. For most of the students here. So now no one can draw anything here now. And oh sure, I'll ask my assistant to send that link again. No problem. You're welcome. You're welcome. And another thing is, I think I recorded this session. If you really, if you're tolerate my talking, babbling this long, 1 hour again, you're welcome to check that video. I probably will upload that video to YouTube later today or sometime tomorrow. So that's probably the introduction and how we set up the working environment, how to prepare that. I think I already talked everything here. Oh, last but not least, let's talk about the Java language. Basically, this content should be in the next unit, but I want to say a quick things here, because I think this one may be benefit you in the future when you really, if you, in case, want to take a career in the programming language. Java is very good languages, not only for beginners, but also for advanced programming. That's one of the reasons why College Board selected this language as their testing language. There's a reason behind this, right? Java, first let me say, neither the fastest one nor the easiest one. Java is not fast, it's not as fast as C, or sometimes C++, C#. Sometimes it's not even faster as Pascal. Fortune, it's not the fastest one, but it also is not the easiest one to learn. There's much easier language, like I remember in some middle school, there's some coding class already. They're talking some drawing languages. You can do control something to drawing, basic thing. Go forward, turn right, something like that. That's much easier than Java already. And I also have some memories. Some website provide another tool using drag and drop graphics interface. You can drag a content sentence here, drag a sentence there, create a programming. That's easier, right? Java is not the fastest. It's not the easiest. Why we use Java here? So Java has very good features, a lot of features here. Someone mentioned about another language like a Python in the chat, but there's one major drawback of Python. Python is weak type, and Java is strong type. I will talk this in the first unit. Every variable you want Java to do some action on it, you declare it first. At that time, you have to tell Java, this is an integer, or this is a fraction, or this is the sentence. After that, it can only hold integer or fractions or sentence. It can never change. So everyone, even someone else reading your code, will have a clear understand how those variables will work or what they are holding. In Python, same variable x, let's say x. At this moment, it can hold a number. Next moment, it can hold a sentence. Next moment, it may hold an entire class. Without really running it through real machine, it's very hard for you to just judging it by just reading the code. So that's one weak point of Python. But you can see that Python give programmer some kind of a freedom. But remember, freedom usually brings a little bit of chaos. Be prepared, be warned there. So Java, strong types, very friendly to programmer and very good feature for beginning learners. And then Java is not that simple. It's object-oriented. Object-oriented right now is already very old concept, but in the beginning it's really a shining point of the entire programming world. It's a necessary tool to organize your code when it became a large scale. Remember, when you code like 1 or 200 lines, it's fine. You don't have to use object-oriented techniques. But when you have millions of lines of code, like the good example is our Windows. Microsoft now have each Windows stored in their code base like 10 million lines of code. Think about it, 10 million lines. If there's no object-oriented techniques, how do we manage that? Every variable you have to give them a different name. Every function a different name. And among those names, everyone need to remember which one's doing what. That will be a nightmare. But object-oriented techniques can group meaningful things together, packaging them, and then everyone else don't have to understand what's inside this class. They just need to know how to use this class. We'll talk about later in the class, in our units, so you will understand that more. Another very good feature is machine irrelevant. For example, for language C, right? You might think a C language is the same thing across everywhere, but that's not right. You're coding C on Windows, on Linux, on Mac OS. They're totally different. They're not totally different. They're quite different. You have to understand different ways to do the same thing. Like if you are going to access, if you're going to access a file, read a file, you want to write a file, you have to remember different commands to use, different libraries to use within your program languages. And things will come really hazy when you do something like this. You're working on Windows using C, but you are going to create a code for Mac or for Android or for Linux. You see, you're jumping back and forth different platforms. That will really happen. But Java is machine irrelevant. No matter what kind of platform you're on, you're doing the exactly same thing. Same function call, same way to do the file I/O, everything's unified. And your code, when you code them, the same code can be run on Windows, on Linux, on Mac, with no problem. Of course, if you want your code running on the Android, on a smartphone, if you're going to do that, you have to make a little bit adjustment, but that's very limited. Your Java knowledge is still very good for that. Of course, those kind of things, you're not going to learn anything about coding smartphone apps in this course, but I just want to show you Java has that unified feature to doing that. And it's widely used in the industry, very mature markets across all the companies. So if you have this Java foundations, maybe in the future, when you looking for a job, if you're really interested in this career, that will be a great start for you. It's still now, even currently, right now in the market, there's still pretty some opportunity, very good opportunities. It's in Java. Yep. Hopefully, I already talked long enough to make you feeling bored. But hopefully, I already give you a good introduction of this class and what we're going to tackle in following units. Hopefully, everyone already have at least a feeling how this class is talking about and what you're facing. if you're interested, we can start a journey on it and learn this language, and learn how those tricks, those college board guys hidden in their exam questions. We can find them and solving them. Yeah, I think that's concludes today's short introduction. If anyone has any questions, you're welcome to shoot in the offline chat, or in the following units. Prepare them, and I will try to answer you at real time. Really, thanks everyone to join this session, join this class. Give your feedback. Discuss this with your parents. Yeah, have your time. Think about it. Yeah, prepare for it. Cool. Thank you. Have a great night. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. See you soon. Cool. Yeah. Ask your parents. Arrange it. Yeah. Bye. See ya. You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to close the session. Yeah. Currently, there are some couple classes already. Ask your parents to some slots. Yeah. Thanks. You're welcome. Yeah, I need to contact the assistants to arrange the class time. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to close the session. Hope everyone have a great night. Have a great day. See you soon. Thank you. You're welcome. Bye. Bye now.